Hi, Mr. Samuel.
Yes.
Good afternoon once again.
Yeah, good afternoon, Oga Chikwado.
Yes, sir. Actually, I have been longing to this moment, and I said I must come around after you and I have discussed briefly on phone the other time to interact with you.
Okay.
Yeah, because many of us have stories. And fortunately, I was with a friend in the office the other time, and he mentioned you to me. I said, wow, I must come myself to interact with you.
Okay.
And let's see how we could amplify our voice so that the world will get to know that people like us still exist. So thank you so much for having me again.
You're welcome.
I really appreciate you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Sam, already I know that you are a person with disability cohort. You are visually impaired. And I would like you to know you. Like, what is your name? And where are you from in Nigeria? Can you introduce yourself to the audience?
No problem. My name is Samuel Paul Edem. I'm from Akwa Ibom State. And I was born in the north. In fact, most of my life, nursery, primary, secondary, and part of my tertiary education was done, were done in the north, basically, all of that. And even my rehabilitation, I underwent rehabilitation first at School for the Blind Children in Gindiri. Then I still went ahead to acquire my accessible technology skills in Kebbi State. So basically, yes, that's just, my full name is Samuel Paul Edem.
From Akwa Ibom
State, yes.
Wow, that's amazing. I think you are an adventurer.
I don't think, I know I'm an adventurer because I've been to about more than, let me say about some 18 or 20 states in the country.
In Nigeria?
In Nigeria, yes.
As a blind man?
Yes, as a blind person and as somebody, before I became blind. Coupled with that, then as a person who's blind, I've been outside the country once by myself. I went to Ghana, spent some 1 month, I came back.
Wow.
So you won't be wrong to call me an adventurer.
It's okay. It's okay, sir. So, just as I noted earlier, I already know that you are a blind person. And many of us, do not really know what really happened to people who are blind today. Like if you look at our sighted counterparts, all they know is that this person is a blind man, is a blind woman. But none had ever cared to know the story behind that incident, whether it was as a result of an accident or if the person was born that way, or if it just happened like that. So I don't know if you wouldn't mind sharing your story, like what really led to your blindness and how did it happen? At what age, sir, did this happen to you?
Okay, well, it's good we are making my story go public once again, and it's something I tell people every now and then. This happened some 21 years ago, whilst I was studying as a student in the Polytechnic Calabar, now present they call it CRUTEC, Cross River University of Technology.
Which should be around 2002.
That was 2002 precisely. Right. So it was whilst I was designing some handmade cards, because I was studying quantity surveying and I used to be an artist. I drew, I made handmade cards. Those days it was handmade cards and portraits. So basically I was working on two portraits, one portrait and two handmade cards. The handmade cards were supposed to be delivered at a wedding, or rather presented at a wedding. So my client, who was also a friend, was seated by me. He was the one that wanted them, or rather needed them to have them as gifts presented at that wedding the next day. So whilst we were there, doing our thing, this fellow classmate of mine, so he was like my closest friend.
Okay.
The same department, the same state, the same tribe, the same hostel, just one door away from my room. So he came in and lo and behold, he was having this glass of hot, this shot, what do you call it, like a shot now. If you want to take a shot of hot, that small portable glass. So we saw him with that and we were surprised because in our room, one of that guy had this bottle of 501. I think it's a whiskey or something so big, almost up to about some. So guys were just coming in and drinking. So I was surprised to see this guy, holding that stuff. Earlier on, my friend and I, the guy whose work I was doing, and myself, we got a shot, that same glass, and we tried to drink it. It was so concentrated. We got a bottle of Pepsi, a bottle of Coke, diluted that glass of hot in it, but we still were not able to drink it. Now here is this guy coming in telling us that this is his second shot, raw, he didn't dilute it, and we're surprised. So we continued our walk. The guy left, then he came back about some 10 minutes later. So whilst he came into my corner, there was this, because in each room we partitioned our corners with something like a curtain and put a zipper so that one could have his or her privacy whenever the time came. So he came, stood outside my corner. His neck was sticking out, at the zipper was just partially open at the top. So the wire, he just put his head there and he started mumbling some words. So I was like, me and this other guy, we turned and looked at ourselves. So we burst into laughter. We knew that definitely something was making this guy speak what he was speaking. So he zipped down my curtain and stepped in, staggered into my corner. And he picked up a marker and defaced the portrait of Shaquille O'Neal. I played basketball. I'm a basketballer. So I had this portrait of Shaquille O'Neal drawn and pasted on my locker door. You understand? And I was that good with drawings that I drew with biro, not pencil. So I either used a red biro or a black biro or a blue biro to draw. So after this guy defaced it, he wrote his name across that portrait. I was upset. I got up, snatched the marker from him because he came on the table where I was working. I had this cup, different markers, blue, green. So he came, picked up one and just went straight to that portrait and defaced it. Wrote his name on it. So I was mad. I got up, snatched the marker from him and, we exchanged words. So it wasn't long, a fourth guy now came and invited us, guys, it's time, go chop food, that kind of stuff. This was getting to midnight on the 8th of March 2002. 2002. So when this fourth guy came, we all went, the three of us went, we ate, and when we were coming back, the guy whose work I was doing was in my front, heading to my room. I was tailing him, and when I got to my door, I turned around, I saw this, my classmate. He still wanted to come into my room. I said, guy, you're not going to enter my room. So before you knew it, a fight ensued, kata kiti kata. I was able to, overpower him, punched him, and, before you knew, people came, separated us. They were even surprised, these guys are like 5 and 6 because we worked together, we attended classes together, but what happened? They came, took him to his room. I went into mine, bolted the door, went back to the table and continued my artwork. So it wasn't up to another 10 minutes. This guy came back and was ramming the door. Bam, 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 bam. So I said, no, let me get up and talk to this guy. So when I got to my door, I can still remember when I was approaching my door, the hinges, as he was banging it, the hinges were just vibrating, that kind of stuff. So I said, no, let me talk to this guy. So I went, I opened the door. There he was, no shirt, just a pair of sky blue jeans, no shoes. They were like, Samuel, you beat like that, you do like that. I said, guy, go and relax. Let this thing simmer down. You don't drink. Go back and relax. Let this thing, let the effect of this alcohol just step down. So before you knew it, while I was standing in front of the room, the guy ran to the end of the corridor. This was now like past midnight. ran to the end of the corridor, picked up there was this bad, let's say ruptured burglary-proof window protector.
Yeah.
So you can imagine a window protector, it's crisscrossed.
Yeah, sure.
So imagine one end where there's no frame.
Yeah.
The spiky parts.
Yes.
So he just came, picked it up. So before I could even know what was happening, the guy rammed it straight into my face. Instantly, one eyeball, the right eyeball, came out from his socket and was hanging on my cheekbone here.
Wow.
Then from eyebrow to eyebrow, cut open, my nose broke in. Then I had several cracks in my skull, and I went down flat. You understand? Just
your eyeballs pumped out.
I said the eyeball. I touched it. I wasn't told. I touched it because when I fell to the floor, I was high. I got up and I felt something. I thought it was blood. So I said, let me touch it. So my eyeball was hanging from this optic nerve on my cheekbone, my right cheekbone.
Oh, wow.
So that was just like that. So instantly I lost my sight and the pains I felt.
So this happened to the both eyes immediately?
No, just the right eyeball. The left eyeball
was affected later on.
Was affected eventually.
Later on, right? Okay. So, sir, wow, this is a very touching story. Oh, wow. So sorry about this, sir. But what really happened to your friend? Was he apprehended? What really happened to him?
After that?
Yes.
My dear, there are some times in life where when things happen, you just wonder how you move on. Nothing else matters. It's just you in the limelight.
Wow. So there was no attempt to get him arrested?
Well, my dad is a retired military officer.
Okay.
And even when he came to arrest him or take him, I told him not to touch him. He was a friend.
Oh, God.
The parents came around. They wanted to foot my hospital bill. My parents said, no, we'll take care of our son. Let's just go.
Just like that?
So, it happened because to forgive somebody is not an easy thing.
It's not an easy thing.
Because now, after this incident, when it happened, the guy started crying. It's like when it dawned on him the effect of his actions.
Yes.
He started crying and, he came visiting even before my parents came.
Yeah.
While I was in the hospital. So on several accounts, he would come put his head on my shoulder and be talking to me. And funny enough, most of these times, I'm always eating Indomie with better fork in my, good fork in my hand. So something they just tell me, say, Samuel, this is your time, try. And, I also went to a military school. I was a marksman.
Okay.
We know how to shoot, coupled with the fact that I'm a basketballer.
Yeah. So
there's no how if I were to swing my right hand with that fork towards my shoulder when he rested.
Rest on you, yes.
There's no how I wouldn't have gotten something out of him.
Sure.
Not once, not twice, not three times, but I said no. It's not. It was the story of David and Saul that kept echoing on my mind.
Sure.
Saul on two accounts came right before David, where they would have cut him into shreds, but he said no. It wasn't. So I didn't see the need of causing him so much injury. As I think Mahatma Gandhi would say, he said, "An eye for an eye will leave everybody blind."
You're actually very enlightened, honestly.
So there's just no point. Doing that.
So after that moment, you people still came back together as friends?
Well, funny enough, after I don't think the guys visited me for up to a week.
Okay.
After this incident.
Okay.
Because he was still attending classes in school. And so after some time, he stopped coming. And I didn't bother. Because there was no point of him coming. He wouldn't come and be babysitting me forever and all of that.
Yeah.
So as I speak now, I don't even know where he is, and I don't want to know where he is because it's not important.
Right. Wow.
It's not important.
I see. Oh, this is a very touching story, Mr. Samuel, and it's very hard for one to really forgive a friend that really someone that caused this sort of pains to you. So I know that moving on would never be an easy thing for you.
No, it hasn't been easy.
So after this incident, how has life been for you as a blind man, especially, as a blind citizen in this country, Nigeria? Like, how has life been with you, generally, sir?
Well, life has not really been easy, and especially when I'm expecting that family and friends will be much of that pillar where you lean on to for support.
Yes.
But in my case, it wasn't that. It wasn't so.
Right.
And I can understand that maybe they didn't. It was still traumatizing to them. Because a lot of them, I mean, like my parents, they knew I was a very good artist.
Yes.
I knew how to draw, paint, and all of that. And I was a good basketballer.
Yeah.
So to them, they still could not come to terms how they'll be able to handle my matter. But in all sincerity, I think God has been good to me. Through the thick and thin, I've been able to somehow go through it. And God, I think I'll just attribute my ability to absorb what I've been able to absorb and still maintain a good sense of sanity to God. I think I'll attribute it to God's doing.
I understand. But was there any medical attention given to you after this? Like, what happened?
Well, this what do you call it? The doctor, or should I say the surgeon who attended to my case.
Okay.
When she checked, because there was this light they normally flash into the eye, and so he said, medically speaking, that nothing can be done
about it
because the optic nerves, according to what she said and according to what I've read and heard, once it is injured, it hardly gets healed. So the blow was that devastating to the point that it hurt the optic nerves of that eye that was still intact. And there was something they call sympathetic inflammation. The optic nerve of this right eye was inflamed, so somehow it also affected the left one, and the left one was inflamed, and it kind of this made that one unable to function properly.
Honestly, even as a blind man myself, I could imagine how it feels for one to continue his life after losing his sight. I think I also have a first-hand experience in that regard as a blind person. But I know moving on, just as you said, it's never easy. I know at times it looks as though the life itself is against you. At the point your family may not be able to do much for you again. At the point you have to depend on yourself alone to get everything done.
That's right.
So sir, you didn't go back to school after this incident happened to you?
No, I didn't. I underwent rehabilitation in school for the blind children in Indiri. After that, I go home, and in the course of my staying at home and trying to sort myself out, I got information about this computer training for persons who are blind or visually impaired in Kebbi State. So I set out and went to Kebbi State for my training. Unfortunately, again, as I was going, I was robbed, and they carted away everything I had, at knife point. And
I'm
serious. There was a knife to my neck. I didn't even know it was the next.
And those people know that you are blind?
Of course. They
Wow.
But that didn't stop me. I got what I wanted, and as God will have it, immediately after that, the person who trained me was a Dutch. By name is Jan Bloom, and he was on an assignment. There's this NGO they call VSO. So I think it was a part of VSO. VSO stands for Voluntary Services from Overseas or something like that. So it was a part of them, and when he saw my willingness and ability to absorb, what was being taught, somehow, some way, he got a job for me, and I started my first job as someone who's blind. As a computer instructor.
Okay.
So since then, I mean, that's basically what I've been doing.
Already, then you have already learned how to operate computer.
No. Funny enough, I didn't know anything about computers before I became blind.
Okay. So then, how were you able to cope as an instructor, computer instructor? Like, were you giving some lessons?
Yes.
Okay.
Like I said, when I went to Kebbi State, call it in Kebbi State School for the Handicapped. I think that's what it's called, in Birin, Kebbi.
Okay.
So they had this computer lab.
Okay.
And I think about 4 or 5 desktop computers. All, having JAWS running
installed on them. Yes.
So I stayed in the hostel, and the good thing was that at night time, after the close of school hours, I had access to those to the lab. So you can imagine, after the main classes, night time, I'll get up, get the key, walk in there, use the computer as I so desire. So within a short time, I was able to get understand a handful of things. I mean, much more than some people that had anticipated.
Yeah, sure. So what about the NGO? You say it's still in Nigeria?
Yes,
it's still very much active.
Very much. It's an international NGO. So they're everywhere.
Okay. I see. I'm really speechless, right here, honestly. Like, I won't even lie about this feeling. Like, I'm feeling very, very bad here. Imagine the sort of pain you went through. You never expected yourself to be a blind person.
My brother, that's just...
I'm not saying that blindness is a bad thing, but coping with it,
especially in this kind of environment.
In this kind of environment, with the country, the hardship and everything, it's very difficult, seriously. So sir, where do you work now? What gives you money? Do you still work with any outlet, or are you self-established?
I worked with a handful of computer outfits before now. I have my own computer outfit registered, but there are still some documents I have to get, like what they call it, TIN.
Okay.
I have to open an account and all of that. So, but when it comes to source of income, no, I don't have a steady source of income. I just depend on, how will I call it, free will donations or some kind of support from people. That's what sustains me for now.
But besides, you do some part-time, computer training.
Yes. If for example, maybe I meet 1 or 2 fellows who are blind, and they need some kind of training, I can say, okay, look, within so and so time, I can come train you. You give me some change. With that, I can just use to roll along, in the interim.
Yes, that to our audience who are actually watching us, some of them might be seeing it or hearing it for the first time.
Okay.
That a blind person deals with computer to the extent of being a computer instructor. And in this instance, a computer instructor is somebody who teaches others how to use computer. So now we have a blind man talking about being an instructor. So I know that they'll be wondering, like, So sir, can you tell our audience the sort of programs you specialize on computer, like those programs you can teach people, blind people, and at the same time, can you also teach people who are not blind how to use computer?
Yes.
So what are those programs you teach? Like, what specifically do you teach those people in your training?
I teach them basically how to use Microsoft Word, because Microsoft Word is the major word processing program that so
the blind people need most.
Yes. So how to use Microsoft Word to an appreciable degree. And the screen readers that I use to train them are JAWS and another one called NVDA.
Yes.
Now, JAWS is an acronym that stands for Job Access with Speech. And it runs on Windows and Mac. So you can have JAWS for Windows, you can have JAWS for Mac.
Okay.
Then we also use NVDA,
Yeah.
and NVDA stands for non-visual desktop access.
Yes.
It's also a screen reader. So I use those are the two I use to train my trainees, anyone that I come across.
So, okay, go on.
Okay. Then for I'll also teach them how to effectively use these screen readers, because there's a way you can set them. If you want it to be fast,
yeah.
You want it to be slow, if
yeah.
you want it to be reading in some kind of areas, just some configuration settings like that.
Yes.
And so I'll teach them how to do that. Then we talk about how to surf the net, handling your emails, how to use social media platforms, or like Facebook, and Twitter, and
Instagram.
No, I'm not yet good in Instagram.
Okay.
Then when it comes to their phones too, how to use your Android phone to do WhatsApp, and just at least to some appreciable degree, so that you'll be having a sense of independence, not necessarily turning to every sighted person every now and then for assistance.
Wow.
So with the basics, you can build on that.
Sure.
With the basics, you can build on that.
Sure. I know that seriously, many of us, especially those who are sighted or who are non-disabled persons, are really shocked. Each time they see a blind person operating on their computers or operating on their phones, So from what you said now, it means that you're also on social media like WhatsApp. And of course, I can also attest to that you and I have been interacting on WhatsApp, So I sent you a message, you respond to me. I wasn't too surprised about that, because I'm also a blind person.
Okay.
But our audience are just so much concerned. How do these people do this?
Well, it's
at times they said they were pretending. Pretend to be blind.
Well, it's not magic. It's not juju.
Yeah.
It's called technology.
Sure.
And that's where how will I call it? The whites are better than us.
Sure.
Because what they look, when they see a human being, they see somebody who is having a challenge or a disability. The aim is to try to make you independent to an appreciable degree, so that you won't constitute a nuisance or a liability to the society. So they do everything doable to get you up and about. At least if you can't help anybody else, help yourself.
Yeah, sure.
So the technology, it's something that is, it has really kept me connected with the world, and it's marvelous. It's amazing.
Actually, the Western communities has really done tremendously well in bringing assistive tech products to our doorstep. That many of us are now empowered with the right tools to get what we want, whenever we want it. So, and we really appreciate all these innovations going on today.
Thank God for that.
Yeah, seriously. So sir, it's been so amazing listening to you today, and I still have more questions to ask you. Hope you wouldn't mind.
No, go on. Feel free.
So as a blind person, because people will be curious to know, how has your life been like when it comes to your relationship life with the opposite sex? Are you married, sir, or are you currently in a relationship?
I'm not married. I'm not currently in any relationship. But it doesn't mean I don't, maybe from time to time, I just have a little fling or something like that.
Okay.
Nothing serious. Because the truth of the matter is, so far I've not seen a lady who is going my way.
Wow.
I don't chase ladies, except if you are going my way, we can walk along. You understand? Because I don't go see you jump up. I have somewhere I'm going. If I see you are heading that same way, I meet you. If you are good to go, you can ride. If not, even before I became blind, I don't chase ladies. If I like you, I walk up to you, I tell you. If you give me a show, bros, I don't lock up or I move. I don't.
Sure, sir. But sir, after you lost your sight, does it mean you have not been in a relationship with
Well, I have been.
Okay.
I have been.
So what happened?
Well,
if you wouldn't mind.
No. I mean, it's for people to learn now.
Okay.
I've been like, funny enough, the first lady I wanted to settle down with for life.
Yeah.
Was a lady with visual impairment.
Okay.
But somewhere along the line, after some time, I changed my mind. I said, no, it shouldn't be that both of us are having the same issue. So I ended that. I called it quits.
Okay.
The second lady, somehow we got on very fine. We went to because we were worshiping in the same church.
Yes.
And eventually, when I went to see the father with a handful of my brethren,
yeah,
the father was like, wow, that okay, if this is what our daughter wants, no problem. But the final say laid in the hands of her grandfather, who was in the village, and was more like a traditionalist. And the father was a so-called Christian, but he was saying the final say laid in the hands of the girl's grandfather, who is a traditionalist. So after some time, the lady was also eventually dragging her feet, and something now happened eventually. Yes.
Okay.
So in the course of our courtship, after some time, I gave her some time. Say, lady, go see your grandpa. Let's know what's up. Yeah. But somehow she was dragging her feet, and I felt time was going. So I went and visited her in Abuja.
Okay.
So I told her what's the final thing, what's the way forward. So she said, okay, she was going to go at another time. She set the time and all of that. So on my way back from that visit, in just between somewhere before curfew, I got involved in an accident.
Yeah.
A car accident where I think about a head-on collision. The people in the golf car, I think there were 3 of them, all of them died.
Wow.
Then my own car, I was sitting directly behind the driver.
Yeah.
The driver broke his legs, and I think somebody in the front died. Somebody by my side died. And, I had a cut, on my upper lip and all of that.
Wow.
So I was admitted, and eventually she called me and asked, how far, where have you reached Jos? Because I was going to Jos from Abuja, and I told her no. Why is the journey? I told her no problem. I'll call her later. I didn't want her to know. So somewhere along the line, she now, after she called me about 2 or 3 times and I was not giving her that, she now said, what is wrong? She asked, so I eventually told her. She burst into tears. And the next morning, before I knew, she was by my hospital bed in Kefi General Hospital. So, and before now, we had come to this agreement that any decision we take must be something both of us must have concluded. It's not going to be one-sided thing.
Yes.
So when she was in by my hospital bed and everything, so I told her that because my face was swollen, I had a stitch on my hand, my face, some stitches like that. So I told her, okay, can you just come and spend some time with me in Jos till I get myself? She agreed. So she came that day, so we stayed. Then the next day, while after breakfast or so, we were just sitting. Then she just said that she wants to go back. You want to go back? I was like, I just acted as if I didn't hear. Then she now asked, Samuel, did you hear what I said? I said, what? Then I want to go back to Abuja. And, okay, no problem now. We can start going. I was thinking maybe it was like,
yeah.
So she got up, packed her things, dressed up, walked out of the door. So I was expecting that I would hear the footsteps come back.
Yeah.
5 minutes, 10 minutes.
And there was no issues prior to that
time? If there was any, at least I wasn't aware.
Wow.
This is somebody we used to talk almost every day. Those days were the days of free night call and all of that. So before I knew it, 1, 2, 3 hours had passed. I didn't hear any footsteps coming back. Then around 5, 6 in the evening, I got a phone call that she's in Abuja. I couldn't believe my eyes. There was a lady I went to see, and on my way back, I almost died.
Wow.
And she could not even come to take care of me for some time till I got myself.
Wow. Okay.
So before I knew it, I think that same night, before midnight, I called her. I said, "Babe, it's over. There's no point."
Oh, you were the one that called
Yes.
to break up with her.
No, I had to now.
But who knew if she was even applying to do that earlier? And probably what she was still thinking about how to call to tell you.
That was so I, because I mean, the popular saying goes, adversity tests the sincerity of friends.
It's true.
Now when I better hand for barbed wire, and I even know who people.
Yeah, it's true.
So if she could not stand by me at this time, then let her go. I mean, it pained me. I mean, I was going to miss her, but I think it's better.
Yeah.
Let her just go, and that was how it ended. So I've had another one to this because see, relationship is I don't have any regrets that I didn't get attached to do. I didn't settle with any of the things because it wasn't meant to be.
Yeah.
If it's meant to be, it will definitely be. But now that I've become a bit wiser. I've learned some other things, and I tell people, or as many that care to listen, I can never and will never marry a wrong lady. Because when it comes to scripturally and socially, at least to some, you can't just come and fool me as a lady.
It's true.
You as I did so no.
Yeah.
Don't be mouth. Don't be confirmed.
Yeah.
Fine like mommy water. see, you can't do. Once you have not met my standard, there are some standards that once I perceive you've not met socially and spiritually, when I delete you.
You know that many people do think that because somebody is with disability, the person can just accept anything.
No, that's not that.
The person can just take anything.
No. If you don't know, if you don't have a standard, so be it. That's what you do.
So they feel that whatever you do to him,
me a favor.
It's okay. And some of them think that even dating or getting married to you is a favor.
No.
Not knowing that many of us are enlightened, educated, and very much aware of themselves. So, Mr. Sam, because of time, I want to know. I see this. I'm very familiar with this very environment where we are.
Okay.
And obviously, I see this is not where you, like this is your real apartment.
Okay.
Yeah. So, what do you have any projects in this school? Like where this environment where you are, like do you have anything program going on here?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm volunteering my services as a computer instructor.
Okay. To this school.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. To train them and because I've always believed something. You mustn't have heaven and earth before you can give.
It's true.
And one part of the scripture that holds me, that keeps me going in this angle is when God, made man, He said, "What? Be fruitful, multiply, and so on and so forth." Sir, whatever you are, if you haven't replicated in the lives of other people, you are a failure.
It's true.
So if I claim I'm a computer instructor and I've not replicated what I know in the lives of other people, I'm a failure. But you see, a lot of people, they want to be the one and only, the only one. They want other people to be coming around them. They hoard information and all of that. No. I don't.
I so much believe that our audience is really going to get a lot of inspiration from you because many are expecting, in this country, once you are a person with disability, you are blind, you are whatever, they automatically tag you a beggar, automatically tag you a liability. They see you as a body, people begin to avoid you. You see, but here is a man, Mr. Samuel, who against all odds uses his skills, computer skills, to impact other people's lives.
That's the way it should.
It could imagine that. So I think this is another lesson we have to learn. That for our audience, that you don't really need to have the whole world before you can give out, and you must not see yourself as a very healthy person before you can, help other people to maintain a good life.
That's true.
So, Mr. Simon, you have been a good impact to the world, and I myself personally, I am willingly also volunteering to work with you in any capacity.
No problem.
That we can.
No problem.
So, sir, I want to know, I of course, I've listened to your story, and in truth, you have really achieved a whole lot for yourself.
Have I?
At least you are making progress.
Okay.
You are making progress.
I'm not yet there.
Yeah, you are not there. Even though when you achieve things, that does not mean you have achieved all that you intended.
That's right.
So, in a way, of course, you have achieved quite a lot.
True.
Look at your story. As a blind person, you go around volunteering your services to serve others, not minding who pays you and who doesn't pay you, but you are serving others. So, but I want to also ask her, like, what is that aspect of your life that you really need help right now? That anybody should listen to you and looking at you, and no matter how happy you are as a man, even in this country that everybody is almost turned upside, everything is almost turned upside down, you definitely need something somewhere. So what is that thing that you feel that somebody or people, or you feel that God can just do for you to make your life better or to make you a happier person?
Well, if there's anything I want to achieve now is to get at least a degree. I want to go back to school.
Okay.
I didn't finish I was reading quantity surveying when I was that was some years ago.
Yeah.
And I think one thing that can make especially persons with disabilities stand out is when they can acquire at least even if it's a diploma or a degree,
whatever,
from a reputable tertiary institution.
Yes.
Understand? So I want to have that, and at least so that when I'm talking, they'll know, okay, this one is an authority in this particular field.
Yes.
So going back to school is one of the key things, in my life, and that's one of the main. Then another thing, partnering with other people to empower persons who are visually impaired.
Okay.
Because a tree cannot make a forest.
It's true.
And no matter how much I know, you and I know that some of these gadgets, especially the screen readers, they are on the very high side, very expensive.
Yeah, I can attest to that.
You understand? Sure. So laptops and all of there are a lot of us who are in schools, but they don't have these stuff. There are some schools you go to, persons who are visually impaired are still using slate and stylus, and still writing. In this age, that's
So, sir, if you had to go back to school now, what would you want to study?
I want to study special education.
Special education.
Yes, because why that is the case is because it will help me to be more of a professional and know how to deal with persons
with disabilities.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow, this is very, very great. So you talked about having your own computer training outfit.
Yes, I have that.
Though not fully established.
Yes.
So like, what are you still interested in getting it properly established?
Of course.
Yeah. What would you want people to do, or what kind of help do you need to get it running properly?
Well, I want to have, like I said, my accounts, and because definitely this kind of stuff, if you
it's registered with Corporate Affairs Commission.
Yes, I have my papers
as a business name, or business name.
Yes,
and you have your papers.
I have my papers.
Okay,
so it's just to have the other documents to have it, so that I'll be able to have an account. And
which document are you talking about? Okay, you need a CAC document.
Okay, I've gotten my CAC.
Okay,
but
you need your tax certification certificate, right?
And some other stuff, so that I'll have an account created
with the name.
Okay.
Yes. What's the name of your officer?
SPIAT Enterprises and Digital Network Services.
Okay.
Let me take it slow. SPIAT.
Okay.
SPIAT.
Okay.
Enterprises and Digital Network Services. SPIAT is an acronym that stands for Samuel Paul Edem Accessible Technology.
That's great. Good combo. Wow, great. Okay, that is fine. I'm very sure that you definitely get to open your account as soon as possible. True. That is after you might have gotten your TIN. Yes. So that's good. So, do you have any regrets in life?
Regrets?
Yes.
No. So far, funny enough, I don't.
Really?
I'm serious, I don't.
Nothing makes you feel bad at times?
No, nothing.
Oh, wow.
I'm serious. Funny enough, I don't.
Wow.
Because I've come to understand that we all have highs and lows. There are moments of highs and lows. And if you come to understand, for everything that happens, there's something God wants to show or make you learn. For example, I don't feel bad. I mean, there are times, of course, I feel bad as having lost my sight.
Yeah, sure.
One or two things happen.
It's normal.
But most of the time, I mean, I feel that in spite of my blindness, I can still do something. And there's a particular scripture that I use to hold myself tight. 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 7. It says, "For we walk by faith, not by sight."
Great. Wow.
You understand? So even in my blindness, I've been able to see some things much more clearer than when I was sighted.
Sighted, yeah. My big brother, honestly, it's been a very wonderful moment with you.
It's okay. It's all good.
I am very, very happy being with you today, sir.
No problem, bro.
And as I've initially introduced myself to you, once again, my name is ChikwadoChukwu. I am the Executive Director of Disability Rights Protection Initiative. And having you today really means a lot to me.
Thank God
because I have always been out there to look for people who are doing great things despite their disability, to know how we could come together and support each other one way or another in any capacity we can. Because even me, myself, somebody brought me to the level where I am. People, most of those guys that helped me, I don't even know them.
I imagine.
I tell you, I don't even know them. People come in box, ask me all sort of questions. They're just curious to know how am I doing, what I'm doing today and all those things. Just because they're interested in knowing us more. And I'm pretty sure that after this moment, I'm very optimistic that people will take interest in you, and many will come, not necessarily to sympathize with you, but to empathize with you, to let you know that we are together in this journey called life.
That's right. That's how it should be.
Honestly. And let me also remind you, you are very, very enlightened and well educated.
Okay.
Now you are interested in going back to school.
Sure.
We are hoping that will happen.
By God's grace, I believe
and
it will.
I also love your spirit, sir. Please keep it glowing. Never shake your head. Do you have a Facebook page, sir?
I do.
Page, right? Okay, you have a Facebook page, Facebook account?
Sure.
What's the name of Facebook, sir?
Samuel Paul. Just Samuel Paul. But you can also use my I have a page for my
business.
Computer,
Your business, okay.
So if you can, because there may be 1001 Samuel Paul.
Okay, great. No, we can. I know I can get it. Okay, it's not a problem.
It's okay.
Yeah.
So Spiat Enterprise and Digital Network Services.
This is your page, right?
That's my the name of my computer outfit page.
Okay.
So Samuel Paul or Spiat Enterprises and Digital Network Services, you'll find me.
Okay, that is great, sir. So, sir, already we have really spent time on this conversation. But of course, behind the camera, we have a lot to do.
No problem.
We really have a lot to do, and I want to know how we can go about getting your TIN, and also open an account for your business.
It's all right.
It will not take much to get those things done.
Okay, sir.
All right.
Sir.
So we are just going to make inquiry. I have my own TIN because I also run a company, a liability company.
Okay.
In Nigeria.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm going to make inquiries to know how we could get that done, and thereafter proceed to getting your account open.
All right.
So that you can always, people who patronize your service can always deal with your business directly.
Correct. That's correct.
Thank you very much. That makes you more legit, you know.
I'm very grateful.
I really appreciate your time with me, and So actually, we are here, just as I said, not to sympathize with you,
Okay.
but to tell you that I am happy to have you. And also, I would also want you to be part of us at DRP. DRP is a short form of Disability Rights Protection Initiative. That is my organization, which we use to provide legal services, counseling, and representation to persons with disabilities in Nigeria whose civil rights or human rights have been abused or violated.
Okay.
So it would be nice to have you as our member, and from time to time we'll be meeting.
No problem,
sir.
Oh, no problem.
So
the pleasure.
On behalf of DRP, we are supporting you with this, sir. We are supporting you with this, sir.
This is serious. I've become a millionaire overnight. This is serious. I mean,
it's a support, and we really hope to do more together.
I'm glad. Maybe we should be coming every day so that more and more. So, I'm very grateful.
I will be keeping in touch, of course.
No problem, sir.
So, but before we run up, do you have any word, any piece of advice or encouragement for our people out there, especially persons with disabilities, those who are blind, those who are physically disabled, the deaf, and even those who are non-disabled? What do you have to tell them, sir?
Okay, I'll say something. You see, it's good to have a role model. And one of my role models I'm somebody who studies the Bible a lot.
Okay.
Now, if you see, there was a man called Naaman. The Bible recorded that, I think in 2 Kings chapter 4 or thereabout, he said he was a mighty man of valor, a gallant soldier. There were some very impressive and juicy qualities that were mentioned about that man. But the only dent there at the end was, but he was leprous. He was a vibrant, he was more like the chief of general staff in the Assyrian army.
Okay.
But he had a disability. So the point is this: regardless of our disability, there's still something we can do. Let's look inward. First of all, work on yourself, and definitely, regardless of what the society may, how the society may look at you, once you have that positive self-image, the rest, by God's grace, will fall into place.
Yes.
Then for our fellow, quote, able-bodied people, disability is not something anybody went to buy in the market. It can happen to anybody.
Yes.
We all know the man called Chinua Achebe of blessed memory.
Yes.
He was sound up and about.
Yes.
But before he passed on, he died on a wheelchair.
Sure.
As a person with a disability.
Yeah.
You don't write people off because, somebody has a disability.
Yes.
Even in someone's disability, God can still use that person. As many of you who are Christians who read your Bible, you know that Paul, who was formerly Saul of Tarsus, he had an infirmity that made him disabled. He prayed to God 3 times. But God said, no, my grace is sufficient for you.
Okay.
So even in with all his, the thorn in his flesh that was troubling him, God was still using Paul as he was. So regardless of it, look beyond the disability. There's something good in everybody. We all know the man they call Pastor Nick, without arms, without legs. If you see his wife, the wife, they like mommy water.
Wow.
Very pretty. Stevie Wonder, if you see his wife, somebody looked at Stevie Wonder, looked at the wife, looked at Stevie Wonder, said, this man is see. He said, what do you mean? He said, this man is see. How he go get this kind of fine woman? How did he? So there are some things that, you have to first of all reflect from within yourself. Yeah. Then when people eventually see that, no matter how they try to neutralize it, no matter how they try to quench it, God will make it stand out, and eventually you'll be lifted at the end of the day.
Wow, thank you so much, Mr. Samuel.
Thank you, my brother.
Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure meeting you.
I really appreciate you.
I think I'm well fed. See the way. You look at the big man. See the way.
I'm a small man. This is my hand, sir.
It's alright. It's a pleasure.
I'm a small man.
No, well fed. Look at your hand, almost covering. Very chubby.
I think you're tickling me.
No, I'm not tickling you. You know I'm telling you the truth.
Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure.
I really appreciate you. I really appreciate you. Thank you for
Pleasure.
giving me the opportunity to interact with you
The pleasure
today.
is all mine.
Honestly, I really appreciate it. And I hope to meet with you some other time.
No problem.
And of course, we are going to be communicating because already we have something that's going to keep you and I busy.
No problem.
Okay.
Sir. No problem.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Problem. Thank you very much.
So much. I really appreciate it.
Pleasure. Let me stand up and shake this big man. It's a pleasure. Well said.
Thank you. You're a giant indeed. I can see.
I didn't know. It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. God bless you.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.